everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wellness for Powerful Women. So, I'm so excited, y'all, for today because this is a topic that I know a lot of people have questions about. Especially me. So, I am so excited to be here with actually my coach and also just an overall awesome human being. This is Rachel Friedman. She's very wise and very knowledgeable, but she's going to tell us today about the $1,000,000 question. How the hell do you overcome money objections? Like, how?
How?
And right, like how, and also how to do it in a way that doesn't feel icky, salesy, pushy, and things like that. Rachel and I are going to chat for about 20 minutes, and then at the end, for the last 10 minutes, if you have any questions, please use this time to get your questions asked, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Use this time to get the support you need on your sales calls, and also just talk to Rachel live. And then I'm going to post a replay on my YouTube channel at the end of this in case you want to refer back to anything. All right, so without further ado, Rachel, would you like to go ahead and please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you, first off, Charmaine, so much for having me and introducing me to this totally new thing on LinkedIn. I mean, maybe not new to the rest of the world, but I don't actually hang out on LinkedIn that much. And literally, I'm super excited to learn about this. So I think we learn something. We have an opportunity to learn something new every day. So thank you for introducing me to something new today. But yeah, so my name is Rachel Friedman. I am a life and business coach. I have I would say a different take to business than a lot of other business coaches, where I really, truly believe that when you are masterful at your craft, whatever it is. Like, I specifically help coaches and healers and people mostly in the wellness world, but whatever it is that you do, when you are masterful at it, really freaking good, that is what is going to propel you to create a thriving, sustainable business. I think it's underrated. I think people go through programs, certifications, get knowledge, get skills, and then they go right out into the world and want to create their first six figures. I'm not saying you can't, but I think it's really important that we're honing and refining our skills as we do that. So that's who I am. That's what I do. I help the healers, the service people doing the good in the world, refine their craft, build their confidence, and elevate their skills. So when they are showing up, marketing, when they're showing up, for example, in a sales call, they're able to show up with an energy that is not convincing, that is not needy, because they know what they're offering is like the next best thing to sliced bread, which, let's be real though, sliced bread is amazing. I always like to say it's kind of like when you believe in your heart of hearts, you have if you had the cure to cancer, you wouldn't hold back, right? You wouldn't go around in the world and be like, I don't know if I should share. I could save people's lives, but I don't want people to think that like I'm this or that, right? You would just tell everyone. And I actually believe that way about what I do. I do believe I actually technically think potentially it could be the cure to cancer, because when you learn how to regulate your emotions, when you learn how to tap in to the wisdom of your body and your mind, there's so much science out there that shows you can actually prevent and heal diseases. So yeah, I guess it's a long answer, but it's this energy of just helping people show up from a place where we just get rid of the wobbles when it comes to how you show up, because you're embodying what you do yourself.
Right. And I love that so much. I love that you really emphasize, like, Rachel's really all about embodying what you sell to your clients, basically. Like, being that person who's in integrity. And I also agree. Like, I feel like if you really are living that example, it's not hard to sell. But there are times, we're gonna go right into it though. But there are times like when we're on the sales call and we do come up with the money objection, just the
Yes.
the famous, like, I can't afford it, I'll have to think about it, I'm paying, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, like things like that. And so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'm curious, like, tell us a bit more about, like, when those happen, like when the objections happen, what is it that's happening that we need to be mindful of? Like, how can we manage those objections from a place of service for the client and not be in our own heads? Because I feel like what happens is when the objection happens, we get so emotional about it, or we get very like we get in our own head about it. So walk us through, like, what's going on when the objection happens and why it's so hard to overcome
Yes.
the sales objection.
Yes. Okay. So first off, I think it's so important that we give ourselves a little grace here, because let's be honest. Someone says words and they're like, "Ooh, I can't afford it," right? I think that's the one that, most of us get the most stuck on. Of course, there are other objections, right? But this money objection. And your brain in that moment instantly is going from maybe being what we call a regulated state, which is a ventral state where you feel safe, where you feel calm and grounded, into what we call a sympathetic state, where your nervous system literally is going into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And I don't actually believe we have control over that. That's just how our brains are wired. Remember, our brains are wired for safety, pleasure, and little energy as possible. And you are not safe to your brain anymore, because this person is about to potentially reject you. And remember, rejection in primitive time was death. So I know that sounds really drastic, but that's what our primitive brain's reaction is. And that really runs the show. So it doesn't mean, though, there aren't things we can do to help ourselves get back into the regulated state. So like you said, Charmaine, we can show up from service and not get tangled in our own shit, part of my French, but like all the thoughts of they can afford it, I'm going to make them go broke, or all the stuff that comes up, right? And so the first thing I always encourage everyone to do, myself included, I have a big sticky note on my computer: breathe.
Yes, breathing is great.
Breathe. The second someone says to you, "Ooh, that's a lot of money, I don't think I can afford it." First off, yes, it is a lot of money. I like to say that because it's valuable, right? What you're offering is valuable. And you got to remember that, because that's the other thing. Our brains go right to the place, well, is it valuable? We just start to doubt ourselves, right? We wobble. So number one, stop and breathe. And it might feel like in that moment, oh God, if I just stop, this person is going to think all this blah, 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 blah about me. They aren't going to even likely notice. Put your feet on the ground and just take some slow, deep breaths, okay? This automatically will help your nervous system move back towards that safe ventral place, okay? Then you've got to remember, the words people are saying are just thoughts. They're just words. So they're just that person's story. Now, I have a little bit of, I think, a different experience sometimes with that money objection than some people, because I just don't believe their story. Because it's not from a place of being an asshole, but I really believe as humans, and I know this because you are this way too, Charmaine, we are super resourceful when we believe in what is being offered to us, right? So, for example, the very first program I bought, coaching program, was $2,000. And that program at the time, I had no money, literally. I was living paycheck to paycheck, supporting my 2 kids as a single mom, and I had like $500 in the bank. So
Mm.
spending $2,000, if you looked at my bank account, was ridiculous, and it was not smart to most people, air quote. But I was so sold that this was what was gonna help me make money that I was willing to go get a credit card, another credit card. I already had a credit card, and put the money on a credit card. Okay. And I
Right.
knew that if you can't have access to a credit card, I really truly believe we are resourceful humans. So the question that comes up when someone says, I can't afford it, is first breathe and then ask, then you have to remind yourself, stay curious, because this is just their story. Now,
Mm.
it's not your job to convince them to buy this, in my opinion. You're convincing, and I used to do this myself, because you haven't convinced yourself yet. So
Ooh,
if we take
yes.
a step back for a second, if you find that you need to convince people on a call, I would say your work is you aren't sold yet on your own services. You're not sold on you being the person to deliver what you are offering to this person. Okay.
Ooh, that's so
And
good.
you have to sell yourself. Like I literally every morning, and Charmaine's right. I sit down every morning. I have my quite long routine actually, but I coach myself. And one of the things I do as I'm coaching myself, I resell myself every day on why my program is a steal, why it is valuable, I think you would be insane not to invest in it, but I sell myself every day on it. And when I don't is when I wobble. So
Right. And I just
first
wanted to
things
pause
first.
there really quick because yeah, just to emphasize, like, if you're struggling with the money objection, just check in with yourself and like, where are you not sold in your program? Like, and because if you truly were confident in it, then somebody else's words about it it wouldn't cause you to feel insecure. But yeah, just notice that it's your insecurity about the program, not the client's word. Well, the client's words are triggering that insecurity in yourself. So it's good to feel certain
Yeah.
first, and then that will help you sell the client on it. But all right, but go ahead and continue. I was like, oh, that's so
Yeah,
good.
no, absolutely, Charmaine. Like it is honestly, and I kind of learned a little bit the hard way because I didn't 100% understand this and I'd heard it, but it just didn't like sink in, right? Like sometimes I think we hear things and it's like you hear it, but it's like in one ear, out the other. And then you just go right back to doing the same old shit. But it's like after getting several no's and really getting hung up on the money objection, I realized I need to, like, maybe there was something to that. So, as Charmaine said, first things first, spend the time to sell yourself first because it will show up time and time again on your calls if you haven't.
Right.
Okay, breathe. I can't say that enough.
Yes.
Right now, I'm breathing, like breathe, slow down, and lean back. So when someone says, I can't afford it, lean back. When you lean in, that's your nervous system being like, ah, right? I just did it. Well, my dog just came over here. He doesn't like it when I do that. But lean back because that lean back energy is going to show that you're still holding this container, if that makes sense. The
Right.
second you lose that, it's going to be harder for that person to have that trust and faith.
Mm.
And energy is more important than actually any words you're saying. So lean back,
Right. So are
ground.
you saying like if you're leaning in, like the other person can like feel that?
I think so. I
Mm.
feel it
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
someone leans in with me, it's like an intensity. And when you're talking about an objection, think about it. We don't we don't want to add intensity. It's already intense. So when we lean back, it creates this like safety. Like, okay, she's calm, she's grounded, she's not rattled by this.
Right. Like it creates safety in your client of like, oh, she can hold my
Yes.
concerns. Like she I could trust her because she is resilient enough to just hold my shit, basically hold my doubts
Yeah,
and fears.
exactly. Yeah,
I love
exactly. And
that. Yeah.
I could say that at least 50% of the time, that just that energy shift will change the entire rest of the conversation.
Right. Right.
Because all you have to do from that place on, I'm like, I mean, it, I don't want to say it's as simple as I make it sound, but is just treat their words as if they're just thoughts, which is what they are, and just get curious with them. Like, there will be people that legitimately probably cannot afford it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we should try to talk those people into, like, I don't know, selling a kidney, but I don't think that's most people. I think most people can get resourceful, whether it's a credit card or borrow money from someone or take out money from in retirement, whatever it is. But it comes down to they've got to believe in you. They've got to believe in what you're offering. And the hardest one I find that we often don't address is they have to believe it's going potentially going to work for themselves. They've got to
Right.
believe that it's there's more of a chance that it will work than it won't, because if they don't believe it's going to work on them, no way they're going to invest, even if it's $5.
Right. And I wanted to touch upon a point you said too, because you were also basically saying, you as the coach or the person who's selling the program, like you have to believe they can have the resources to buy also, like that they
Yeah.
can be resourceful. Because I think a lot of times when they bring up a money objection, we just automatically believe them, and we're just like, oh, you can't afford it. Ooh, okay. Instead of like believing in the version of them that is resourceful and can find a way, we just sort of go along with that limiting belief of like, oh yeah, I just can't get the money for it.
Yeah, and I want to just point out that if you don't believe that they can be resourceful and find the money, then I'm curious, do you believe they can actually get the results? Because if you
Mm.
don't believe they can get the results, they can feel that. And if they feel that wobble, why would they invest? Because if you don't believe in them and they already don't believe in themselves, like, what's the point? Does that make sense?
Right.
So if you're not believing in their resourcefulness, I would check in, are you believing that they can get results? And if you don't, I'm not saying this is a problem. It just means that we need to go to work on why don't you believe that anybody, I really believe anyone can get results if they desire it. If you don't desire it, no, I don't necessarily believe you can. Like, I don't desire to play in the NBA. I'm 5 feet too tall and I don't play basketball. I do not have that desire, right?
Right.
I don't believe God gives us desires that we aren't meant to have. That's just, we were talking about this on our call the other day. So I think it's, more of the money objection, more of the objections actually is about your own internal work than it is actually about the conversation you're having with that person.
Ooh, expand on that.
Because it's just showing you all your own limiting beliefs. So when a
Mm-hmm.
person says to you, I can't afford it, and if you believe it, where are you feeling like you can't afford things? If a person says, I don't think it's going to work for me, where are you believing it doesn't work for you? Right? If
Ooh.
someone's saying, well, I don't know if this program, like coaching or whatever you're offering, I've tried a bunch of things, right? Like as a weight loss, coach Charmaine, I'm sure you get a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I've tried every diet and none of them work for me. Well,
Right.
if they're saying that and you're believing them, and I know you wouldn't believe them when it comes to that, but where it's like, it's a mirror of where you not believing. Now, if they say it and you don't believe them, then that shows me you have built up those belief muscles in that area.
Mm. Right. Right. You're not like derailed by their belief.
Correct.
Right. And And just as a recap, especially because I know some people are like tuning in right now, and we'll also have some time for questions too if anyone wants to raise their hand. But so as a recap, you said first, like, everybody, like, take a deep breath. Everyone listening right now, just take a deep breath wherever you are, and
Breathe.
breathe. When the money objection comes, just breathe, because your nervous system's gonna go crank. It's gonna go into fight or flight. And then you said to look at the client's thoughts as like words, like it's a story, like whatever their objection is a story. And then third, I believe you said, is to like lean back and
lean back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like physically move your body and lean back.
Right. Actually lean back, because I mean, I know that I could definitely lean in unconsciously, but it really is kind of like that fight or flight response. Like when you're kind of going into like a fight mode, you're like wanting to attack the screen or whatever.
It literally is, right? Like hands up.
Right, you just want to punch a person. Not just kidding, but physiologically, it's so powerful how physiologically just changing your body, changing your posture, regulating your breath can really get you into that parasympathetic like relaxation response, which I love. And is there any other step that I'm missing? Like fourth is like to check in with your own beliefs and insecurities around what you're offering. Is that sort of the
I mean, I would almost say that might be step pre-1, right? Sell yourself on your offer. Like so hard that like people's words aren't going to shake you up.
Right. And if there is a part of you that is shaky on it, what should you do?
Yes. If there's a part that is shaky, you want to just question it. You want to ask yourself, like, well, what part of me why am I believing this? What part of me, what do I gain by believing this? That's one of my favorite questions, because we often don't look at that. Like, what's the gain in not believing?
Right. So you would kind of have people look at that thought, like what's sort of in the way of you believing that, and then what's the gain of you not believing? Like, can you expand a little bit by what that means? Like,
yeah. Like, so for example, like if, not believing, one of the potential reasons could be, well, let's just say not believing 100% in what you offer, not feeling really solid in it, right? And what would be the gain of not believing in it? There might be some fear around, for example, of success. And I know we talk about this fear of success, but like for some people, if no one in your family has reached a certain level of success, for example, for you, if you were to reach a level of success that people in your family haven't, you're now no longer part of that tribe. And remember, that's one of our primitive needs, is to belong. And so you want to look at, what does it mean if I were to step outside of the beliefs of my culture, of my family, of my, like, what would you say, like your immediate systems? And when I say systems, I mean like your family structure. What would happen if I were to be really successful, like wildly successful? And the truth is, and this is just an example, right? Like, be radically honest, because people are like, no, everyone would be super proud of me. But is that really 100% true? Because my guess is there would be people that would be jealous.
Right. Oh, for sure. And I think what comes up for me is, if you're successful, honestly, this is what's coming up for me. Because I have some family in the Philippines. I'm Filipino. And if you're wealthy, you're kind of expected to give your money to your family. And I still, to this day, I'll have people, like cousins, family in the Philippines, they'll just message me from time to time to send them money. And at least for me, I think there's like a belief of like, oh, if I'm successful, I have to give all my money away. Yeah.
So it's almost like unconsciously your brain is like, well, don't make too much, because then you won't be there won't be all these expectations on you.
Right. And so for anyone listening, kind of tap in and tune in with yourself. Like if you are noticing any shakiness or doubts in your offer, like really be honest with yourself, by the way. Like really like rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being like my offer is the bomb, like you crazy if you don't buy it, and 1 is like don't buy it, it's not worth it. So like just check in with yourself, like rank it from 1 to 10. Everyone be honest. Like I'd be curious for someone to, if they want to share, but just rank that number, and if it's not a 10, do just kind of like what Rachel was saying, like evaluate what's behind that, and what's the gain, like what's the benefit of you not believing in it yourself 100%. What's in the way of that? And definitely want to leave time, since we have a few minutes here, if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask Rachel. Like if you have any questions on maybe an objection you got that you just did not know what to do, this is your time. All right, so I'm gonna invite, I'm so sorry, please let me know how to pronounce your name when we put you on here. All right, so I'm gonna allow you to speak. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is, you can call me Push Raj, Push for short. So yeah, quite interesting topic. So when let's say if I'm doing business, this is a very tricky question. Please allow me to speak. I apologize in advance. But let's say if I'm doing business with my family member, okay, and emotions are coming in between, I have to say no to them for any business deal or whatever said and done with regards to money objections. Okay, now one side of my brain says, hey, Push, don't do it. The other side of my heart says, Push, come on, this is your family. So how to strike a balance when you're dealing with your family members in your business?
Oh, such a good question. So I think the first thing you want to check in with yourself is just be, I say it a lot, but be radically honest. Do I want to work with my family members? And
Yes.
there's no right or wrong answer there. Like personally, it's a big no for me. I've come to decide. I used to when I first started, because I was like, well, I know I can help them. But for me, it's just a boundary. It requires so many boundaries that I personally did not want to navigate. So first off, I would check in with yourself. Do I even want to work with family? Because it's your business, right? It's your choice. And if the answer is yes, I do, I know I can help them, then I do. Same thing with friends. I think it's really important that you set those boundaries for yourself in advance. What are they going to be? And then when it comes to the money objection, I treat it just like they're a stranger. Because the truth is yeah, they're family, but I want them to get the same results like someone who's not family will get. And personally, if I'm discounting or making special deals, I know myself. That's what makes it harder for me to keep my own thoughts clean about the experience. Oh, well, they're paying less. So, blah, 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 blah. Your brain stirs up all sorts of stuff. And personally, that's too much. That's extra effort that I just don't want in my business. Of course, it's your business. You get to decide. But I'm curious, if you were to treat them as if they weren't family, what would be different?
Yeah, so is that something you'd want to answer, Push?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. So see, there are some kind of individuals or profiles when you are just without business, they are marvelous. But when they enter business, oh my God, topsy-turvy, first thing. And second thing is, let's say, for example, I and Charmaine are, let's say, cousins. And when we meet outside, we are like, ooh la la, kind, talk of the town. But when we stay together, we are the most, I might be the most irritating person, because I will know, Charmaine will know my true colors, right? When you stay with them. So this is something what I have decided is I'll invite them on happy hours. And once I get tipsy, I say, I don't want to do business with you.
Yeah, do what you have to do. I mean, I have to be honest. I had to do it with a friend, and it was like, I love you too much as a friend to mix these things together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
See, because you rather hurt them by saying no than to complicate your relationship at the end of the day, right? We keep business separate, and our friendship or relationship on an emotional level separate, because if it's going to hamper both, then there's no point in even going and thinking about it, right? So sometimes I was like in two minds where, well, she's my cousin and I want to say no so badly, and I will pay you for me saying no to you.
And
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah.
Push, there isn't really a wrong or right here, though, either, because I do know people that do work with family. But again, it's just you have to tune in with what feels right for you. And I would just listen. This is for everyone. I always say go not just to your head, but listen to your body's reaction.
Yes. Yes, your body is going to tell the truth. Like you could
That's
say
right.
in your mind, oh, family's okay. Like I love my family, but if your body's like feeling tight, if it's feeling like kind of like uncomfortable when you think of working with them, something's going on there.
Yeah, that's the side that you got to really listen to.
Right.
And worst case scenario, I'll hire them and I'll be the toughest, sweetest boss, like a devil with an angel's heart, but I'll be a devil. And just, we all have our moments, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome question. Thank you, Push. I can't believe we're almost back to we're basically at time. But thank you so much, everyone. Oh, really quick, we can have Rick ask a question. Do you have a few minutes, Rachel?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, real quick, and then we'll wrap up. But all right, I'll allow you to speak, Rick. All right, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's Rick phoning. It's dialing in from South Africa. I just wanted to ask a question. So I'm in the education sector, and it's very difficult to sell something to a parent for a child if it's something tangible that they cannot see. So a lot of the objections are mostly money, but the aspect also is trying to sell something to someone that they physically cannot see or cannot touch. And that might take 2 to 3 years. So any advice on convincing a parent to pay for their studies if they cannot physically see something?
Yeah. Oh, such a great question. So first off, I'm curious. You said they can't see or touch. Tell me just a little bit more. You said education, but like what is it?
Yes. So we offer education in the tertiary section, so colleges. So what we do is we're selling a dream to a parent to say, send your child here, let your child come and study. In South Africa, education besides schooling is a luxury. So trying to get their money to invest in a child sometimes can be challenging if there's not something. So the only thing I can tell you is I'm going to look after your child, and this is the journey we're going to take with your child. But there's nothing physically. It's not like I'm going into a store and buying a shirt, and the shirt I can show. So I think for us and many of the sales consultants in our team is we do have that objection of it's nothing I can show you until the end.
Okay, I'm going to politely disagree that there's nothing that you can show. You can't show a shirt, right? You can't show like a computer. But here is the missing, here's one of the things I see that so many people, and I did it myself for a really long time, fumble on, is we're selling, and Charmaine and I've talked about this, you're selling the airplane, not the destination. So you're telling them they can come in, I can teach them this, they'll learn this, I'll take care of them. But what is the result of them going, learning this education? What is possible if they invest in their child and their child learns these new skills, wisdom, knowledge?
So selling the dream, basically.
Yeah, you're selling the dream. You're not selling them the school. So what is the dream?
True. Okay, I get you.
I'm curious, Rick. What is the dream?
So it depends. I think the dream would be, we've got in our country, we've got quite a high rate of unemployment. So the sector that we are in is food handling and helping students develop a qualification in teaching them how to cook. So for us, that there is a dream, but you still get that objection from some parents.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the wobble, right? Is you spend, or at least my thoughts is spend more on time on what's possible if they invest in learning how to cook, right? Learning how to be a chef, basically.
Yeah.
Because when they learn how to be a chef, you're not selling them on the education, you're selling them on the potential to get a job, and not just a job, but like a well-paying job that not only will support their child, but potentially could support the entire family.
Sure.
See, feel the difference? Like when I'm selling the fact that your child is going to go through this program and get a job, and then not only get, a job that helps support them, but they'll have money to help support, you and your community. It's so much more desirable.
Yeah, I think it's also just getting the excitement in selling that dream.
Yeah, it's you have to be so excited about the dream for them so they can feel it. They can almost taste it.
Literally.
Literally. That's why I love you, because I'm like, I'm right now, like when I think about my work, right? Like, I mean, I can't literally like taste it, but like cooking, like, oh my God, what a beautiful metaphor, right? You can literally like use so many beautiful metaphors of like how delicious food is. I mean, we have to tap into people's emotions.
True.
That's what everyone buys. They don't buy, like, again, no one buys the plane ride. We buy the destination. We buy everything we buy, guys, is because of emotion.
Right.
Always.
True. That's true. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. I want to hear how it goes when you start selling, the deliciousness.
Will do.
Oh my gosh, this makes me want to learn how to cook. So
right?
This is great.
I need to learn how to cook according to my kids.
Great question, Rick. That was super helpful. I appreciate that, Rachel, too. Just remembering to sell the client on the destination, like the result, like the emotion they're gonna get when they know, like when their family is able to have money, or when the person learns how to cook and they have this skill that they have for life that can give them money forever, So I love that. This is really helpful for me, just like remembering how to shift the focus in the sales call and remembering that end result that's possible. But I also love what you said, Rachel, like we have to believe that they can get the result too. Like we have to be very strong in that belief, and just see that value that they could get from working with us. And I know we're coming up on time, but Rachel, could you please let us know how people could find you, like what you offer, how people could work with you?
Yeah, thanks so much, Charmaine. So yeah, you can obviously find me here. I don't even know if there's is there a tag on LinkedIn? Charmaine.
They could they could go to your profile.
Yeah, they could go to my profile.
Yes.
So it's Rachel Friedman. But I mostly hang out, I would say, on Instagram, and it's at Rachel B. Friedman. And I also on Facebook. So yeah, I offer a certification for people that are already coaches or kind of stepping into this profession. And what we do is really learn how to embody the body in the work. So it's called the Somatic Coach Certification because Soma means body. So we embody mind, body, right, and energy, the three realms. And really, so when you step into that sales call, you are so sold on your ability to help someone shift into a transformation. And I really, truly believe whatever industry you're in, when you have these skills, it magnifies it. It makes it so much easier to sell whatever you're selling, because coaching isn't really just about transformation. I mean, yes, it is, but it's really a process of communication.
Right. Right.
And it's through the communication that enables you to be really effective at whatever you do. So if you are interested in either being a coach, you already are a coach, and you want to elevate these skills, hit me up and we can have a conversation about whether, my program might be a good fit for you.
Yay, I love that, Rachel. And I'm just going to be totally honest. I'm in Rachel's coaching program and it is amazing. So definitely check her out. Check out her LinkedIn profile. And if you want all her links to her Instagram and things like that and her website, I will post it in my YouTube channel. I'm going to post a replay of this whole call there. And also I'm going to post the link to the replay and Rachel's links in the LinkedIn event page for this event. So you can see that right after this call. But anyways, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing your wisdom. This was so amazing.
Thank you, Charmaine, so much for having me and introducing me to this new fun, I guess it's not a new platform, but this talk show style of, I don't know, whatever you call it.
Right. It's so cool, right? Like, I love it. I love that it's just like audio only. It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of nice to not have to dress up all the time, but anyway.
I had no idea, guys, so I actually am like dressed and ready.
Right.
I'm just ready for the day now.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you all so much, and I'll see you. I have another interview this Thursday with Tin Lee. We're going to talk about the top 3 CEO responsibilities you want to have to 3x your business in 2023. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time.
Bye, Charmaine. Thank you.
Bye.